to each one of us, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this video is going to be some nice coverage on the topic of the adjective endings. Maybe get to start, let me take this chance to welcome each one of you who is just tuning in. I would like to take this chance to also acknowledge, yes, I would like to acknowledge our members who have been able to join in the community. If you're just also tuning in, I would like to encourage you to go ahead and check on our membership packs so that there are some videos that are only accessible to members. You will also be able to gain access to them. Well, then, for those who don't know me, just call me Teacher Fred. And today I want us to talk about the topic which is on the adjective endings. The adjective endings. Now, if there is anything in German that tends to be complicated, is the issue of der, die, and das. That is the genders. All right, because you realize in every sentence that you form, in every sentence that one gets to form in German, they always have to consider the gender of that noun. Right. So in a moment, we're about to see the various adjectives and the specific endings that they would like you to add to the specific adjective. Right. Now, first of all, let's remind ourselves, what are adjectives? What are these adjectives? Now, first of all, we know that an adjective is a word that describes a noun, right? So some examples include things like interessant, all right? We have things like interessant, which now means interesting. Another one is gut, all right? So we have interessant, we have gut. Another example is schön with an umlaut. Okay, so we're just listing down some examples of adjectives. There is interessant, which now means interesting. Interesting. And then we will say that we also have gut, which is just good. And then schön. Now, schön can mean pretty. Schön means pretty or even beautiful. Right? So I'd like us to list a couple of them. If you have another example, feel free to state it in the comment. So examples of adjectives we have in German: interessant, there is gut, there is schön. Christian, I can say there, willkommen, yeah? So you feel free to mention any other example. Willkommen to you, Christian, yeah? So another example is günstig. Günstig. Now, günstig can mean affordable or even cheap, yeah? Another one is billig. Billig. There's one from Christian. Christian says lecker. There is this one here from Christian, which now says lecker. Now remember, lecker is delicious, right? Delicious. So billig normally means cheap. Billig normally means cheap. Günstig, affordable. So it can mean affordable or also cheap. Günstig can mean affordable, or sometimes it also used to mean cheap. Okay, let's just get two more examples. We have alt, old. There is alt, which now means old. And then lastly, we also have jung. If you have any other example, feel free to mention it in the comment below. So these are some of the examples of adjectives that we have in German: interessant, gut, schön, günstig. There is billig, lecker, alt, and also jung. Now that we've mentioned these adjectives, it is now important that we now see the various endings they'll be taking. Now, these adjectives, they normally take different endings depending on the article that you'll be using. Are you using a definite one, or are you using a different one? Okay, then. Now, let's now talk about the endings they will take, all right? I would like us now to mention on the endings that they will take. Just find somewhere to write. Now, it will depend if we're talking about definite articles. Let's begin with the first one, the definite articles. Let's begin with the definite articles. So what endings will you add on the adjectives when they come after definite articles? Now, when I'm talking about definite articles, I'm simply referring to der, die, and das, right? So when you get to use this der, die, and das, what will happen is you will add an e to the adjective. Kindly remember that, yeah? So that you say, after der, die, and das, you will add an e to the adjective, all right? Okay, let me just give you some examples here. Let's just get some examples so that we see what we are mentioning. So maybe you want to say the new car. So this is our first example. We want to say the new car. The new car. So as you know very well, car is das, right? So I would say das and then new. New, which is neu, like this, right? Neu. But we are adding an e to this. So you now say das neue. Das neue Auto. Das neue Auto. The new car. How about you to say the new house? The new house. Again, you'll do the same thing. So we have the new house. So again, because house is neuter, I will just say das and then neue Haus. Das neue Haus. Okay, let's now take an example of feminine. You want to say the pretty lady. The pretty lady. Now, because lady is feminine, remember lady is feminine, right? So you say die and then pretty. As you know very well, pretty is schön, right? So you say die schöne. Schöne with an E. Die schöne Frau. Die schöne Frau. Okay, let's now take the last example. Let's say the old man. The old man. So how do you say the old man? Now, man is masculine. So you now say der alte. Der alte Mann. Der alte Mann. The old man. How about the young child? The young child. So child is neuter. I would now say das junge. Das junge Kind. Das junge Kind. Now, from all the examples that we have here, from all the examples that we've provided here, you are seeing that whenever we get to use these definite articles, all right? Somebody has requested, okay, just a moment. So whenever we get to use these definite articles, remember after der, die, and das, you will add an e to the adjective. So you say das neue Auto, the new car, das neue Haus, die schöne Frau, der alte Mann, the old man, and then of course das junge Kind. Christian, you're requesting for something. At the end of at the link below, I'm going to share the website. For example, Christian, yeah, you wanted to get the contact. We will be providing that at the end of this. Okay, then, and then the constant factor here is that whenever you'll be using the definite articles, please ensure that you add an e to the adjective. So that was the emphasis here. Let's now see indefinite articles. Let's now see what happens when you use the indefinite articles. Now, the endings will be different. The endings will be different as follows. So if I use the indefinite ones, now these ones are now the indefinite. Which endings will you add and how would you proceed? Indefinite articles. Now, for these ones, the endings are going to be different from the ones we've just seen. All right. Now we have ein for masculine, right? There is ein. This one is for masculine. Then there is eine for feminine. All right. So ein for masculine. Then there is eine for feminine. And then there is ein. This one is for neuter. So How will you add the endings? Now, again here, the endings are going to be a bit different from the definite ones, okay? So for ein masculine, we will now add er, okay? And then eine for feminine, we will add e. And then ein for neuter, the ending is going to be es. So look at that. Do you see the difference? Here, we were adding e throughout, right? We were adding e throughout. But for the indefinite ones, we are seeing that the endings are totally different. Ein for masculine, er. All right? And then eine for feminine, we add e. And then lastly, ein for neuter, now we add es. So let's now give some examples for deeper emphasis. Now here are some nice examples that I'd like us to see. So you want to say, my pen is coming to an end. Just a moment. Oh, all right. Let me know you get to use one. I want to say a new house. A new house. Now, because house is neuter, I would now say ein. All right. House is neuter. So it's say ein neues with an es. Ein neues Haus. Ein neues Haus. A new house. You can now see I have added an es because house is neuter. Okay. How about another example? You want to say, the example that I have here is a pretty woman. A pretty woman. So because woman is feminine, I would now say eine. So there we go. Eine schöne. Eine schöne with an E and then Frau. Eine schöne Frau. A pretty lady or woman. Okay, the other example, I want to say that a tall man. A tall man. So because man is masculine, you were told you're adding ER. So I say ein großer. Ein großer, and then Mann. Ein großer Mann. Okay. Now, these are the specific endings that you'll get now to add if the adjectives come after the indefinite article. So, ein for masculine, er. Eine for feminine, we now add e. And then ein for neuter, we now get to add es. Remember, these endings are going to the adjectives that come after them. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the specific endings that you will get to add to your adjectives, depending on whether they're coming after definite or indefinite. Okay? So, with that said and done, this brings us to the end of today's class. Today, we've only captured on the nominative. In the next class, we'll now be seeing the endings in accusative and then eventually also dative. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me appreciate you for being active. I shall be seeing us in the next one. Have a good night.